Should we watch this Jerks?
Yeah, I think, did we all watch the big movie or only two of us watched the big movie?
What's the big movie?
The big movie is The Running Man.
I've seen Running Man before, yes. We can talk about Running Man.
The new Running Man, DC's Running Man.
Oh, okay. I have not watched this yet.
Fast guy.
It's there for me to watch. I don't know. Is this something I can watch with the children?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean,
We're
talking about the Flash, by the way.
We've seen all the Marvels.
We're talking about the Flash.
Yeah, we're talking about the Flash.
Cheapy and I watched the Flash.
The only Marvel stuff they haven't seen really is like Multiverse of Madness and the latest Guardians.
I'm gonna say I'm mixed on it only because there isn't blood, but there is some death.
They're fine with death.
There is a dead mom.
They're fine with that.
It's basically Flashpoint Paradox, but like dumbed down, like a lot, because there's a lot going on in Flashpoint Paradox. So they basically simplified that and also like try to provide fan service, which I thought they did a good job of. Like Mrs. Chibi watched it with me, and she laughed at the funny parts, and we hung in there we only watched it in 2 sittings, which is a big plus for it.
We hung in there.
I mean, these movies are fucking long, like and this one.
Yeah.
This one was like 2.5 hours, I think, but it was good. Like it didn't seem like it wasted our time too much, or it was insulted our intelligence too much. It was fun. It was, as far as DC movies go, I feel like it was one of the most fun ones.
That is true.
Right? Even with that like heavy topic of the dead mom, it's not even that heavy. Like there's definitely some, I wouldn't necessarily even say plot holes as much as it is like, wait, what did. So, and this is just the Flash origin. Okay.
It's just, I'm saying this is the Flash origin story from the comics. I feel like that's not a spoiler. If you watch the TV show or even the Justice League movie, you know this part because it's in the Justice League movie where Barry Allen's mother was murdered and his father is the one who goes to jail for it. Right? We all know
classic.
That's the classic Flash. Yeah. Origin. Actually, It's more like the 20-year-old retcon, but it doesn't matter. We're not getting into semantics. In this movie, because it's a self-contained thing, I was thinking they were going to show who killed Barry Allen's mom, and the movie never does.
Maybe in the sequel.
There's not going to be a sequel.
They should. It was good. It was good. It was pretty good as far as these movies goes.
So much money.
It's too bad. I know that people complained about the CG. I thought it was fine.
I think, well, it's, when he's in the Speed Force.
Yeah, it's fine.
There's that weird, very plasticky looking CG, which is clearly like a director's choice. And I don't know how well that works. I'm not going to say it's fine.
People need to do more drugs.
I will admit that. Yeah, I will admit that I'm aware that it's a choice and it does feel intentional that it's bad CGI.
You're talking about like when he's like in the time.
Yes.
I forgot the name for it. And you see like the past. You see the past and it's in like layers.
Time Force.
That was fine.
Speed Force. It's called the Speed Force.
Speed Force, whatever.
Right. But I'm saying,
how can you forget that?
When he's doing the time stuff.
Right.
Anyway, it's fine. I recommend it. As far as these superhero movies go, I thought it was fun. And as someone who likes like the story behind like the Flashpoint Paradox story, I thought they did like a good job of just, sort of riffing off of that.
It would, I think the movie, I think Ezra Miller is a problem. Just, the fact all the Ezra Miller problems obviously is part of it. But I don't know. I don't even know if he's that good in the movie. Like, I'm still on the fence. Like, did I enjoy his performance? Was it worth all the trouble to keep him in there?
Anybody could have done that. I mean, he was fine. I know that he's like an asshole in real life, I guess. I think the one flaw of the movie is that, Flash as a character is supposed to be annoying, right? Like a little bit. Like he's always portrayed as like a little annoying, like jokey and.
Yes and no. The Barry Allen Flash traditionally is the straight-laced stand-up guy.
Oh, okay.
The Wally West Flash was the annoying jokey one.
So he's kind of the annoying jokey one in this, and there's basically two of them in the movie, so you're getting like double annoying Flash. It's maybe too much, a little too much. Anyway, it was pretty good though. I don't want to shit on it. I watched another movie that I liked. This was a documentary, and it's also on HBO or Max or whatever, called BS High, about the fake football team, the fake high school football team.
Okay, wasn't this in Ohio or something?
Yes, correct. It was in Ohio. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's, first of all, I don't care about football, but this was very interesting. It's about basically this con man who decides that there's a lot of money, or figures out there's a lot of money in high school football, and why doesn't he? And he tries to start like a private high school football team, and basically the school drops out at a certain point, and he just keeps going with it. And there's no school, and he's recruited all these disadvantaged kids who are basically like looking for their moonshot to get into a good college football program, or any college football program. And this guy takes advantage of that, and he basically gets away with it until
so they get on ESPN.
They get on ESPN playing one of the best teams in the country.
Right.
So it's very interesting how he goes from nothing to that moment. And
that was his mistake, was signing up for that ESPN game.
You'll see. Yeah.
I mean, I guess. So do the kids actually get into college though?
I don't want to spoil anything about it. But the guy is a con man.
This is recent. This is like,
it's very recent. And the guy who did it, the coach of the football team, I forgot his name, Roy something. He is extensively interviewed for this documentary, because he is like a manic narcissist. And you'll see it when he gets interviewed. He's like so animated. He can't stop talking about like his fraudulent activity. Like he doesn't really deny.
Is he in jail? Or?
He is not in jail, because you'll find out like the laws in Ohio really don't prevent this from happening. My guess is that he's incriminated himself in some other manners in speaking so freely in this documentary, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is in jail soon.
If he, what's his name, Tiger Kings himself?
Or Crazy Cabby from the Howard Stern show, who talked about how he doesn't pay taxes because he's a veteran. And guess what? He went to prison for not paying his taxes. So anyway, BS High, it's just one, it's a movie. It's not like some multi-episode thing. It's only 90 minutes. Excellent. Super well done. What else we got?
Ooh. I watched one. I don't know if either of you have watched this before. It's Pinball, the Man Who Saved the Game.
I have not, but I've seen it advertised to me.
You should look at the Rotten Tomatoes score.
It's 100?
Very, very, very high.
Okay, good.
So this is about Roger Sharp. He is the guy who basically, like, pinball was outlawed in New York City and in several other cities, right? Because it was considered gambling.
In the 70s?
This takes place in the 70s. So the movie is it's a documentary, but it's dramatized.
Okay.
Right. So it's all actors. It's all shot in a way that it's very enjoyable. It's like a very almost like Ted Lasso-esque like type of mood to it. Right?
Similar
like,
to that Tetris movie that we saw?
Similar to the Tetris movie, but even like lower stakes, I would say, to this Tetris movie, because
right.
it's like there's no like car chase scene in this movie.
Is it like Flashdance but with pinball instead of dancing?
It's strange because there's pinball. There's definitely a pinball focus to it, right? Like he goes and he like he's a reporter, right? He's an author, and so part of it is him going to talk to all of like Williams and Stern and all like the people who like made pinball what it was, but the whole movie's supposed to be about this court case, right? Where he goes and has this court case where he's part of this court case about getting pinball to where it's no longer illegal, considered gambling. But it's like such a small part of the movie because like on purpose, because it's not like, that's not the interesting like story part of it.
Okay.
But Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. It's on Hulu. I'm surprised Wombat hasn't watched it. Like,
It's on, I didn't know it was on who. Honestly didn't know it was a thing.
yeah, it's very
I'll
good.
check it out. I
Yeah,
like documentaries. I like pinball.
Yeah, I'll
The
check it
guy
out.
also has a fantastic mustache.
Okay, 70s mustache.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll check that out. It's a movie, right?
It's a movie.
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hour and a half.
Love it.
Yep.
Okay.
I also watched The French Dispatch. The Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson. Yeah,
Yes. Have you guys seen that?
I have.
You have.
I have not. I don't think.
I like the first section
Yes.
with the prison artist.
Uh-huh.
I like that. I like the little twist at the end too. I enjoyed that. I'm trying to remember. I know there's the one with the restaurant critic, which was
Yep,
okay.
That one's okay as well.
Is this
And
the
I
one with
liked
the
it.
Japanese wife? No, the
No,
white guy
this
with the Japanese wife. No.
No, this is Bill Murray, and he is running a Iowa newspaper
Called
called the French Dispatch out of a small town in France.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like
and
a
it's like
Sunday
an
section.
anthology movie where
Right.
there's like 3 short stories. 3? Is it 3 or 4? I've already forgot. It doesn't matter. And I remember, I'm trying to remember what the middle one was, and I can't remember. And I feel like that's the one I didn't like as much.
It goes like, it's an interesting conceit to a movie. It's because it's supposed to be like articles in a magazine, so you have like the short articles and like little sections, but then you have the main like one big article in the middle, and that is the one that drags the most.
Oh.
And I literally just watched this, and I'm still trying to remember what exactly that one was about.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie, and yeah, you're right. Like I remember Jeffrey Wright and the kidnapping, and that one being sort of interesting.
That one's like towards the end.
Yeah,
It's like,
and I
yeah,
remember the Benicio del Toro,
of course, that one's good.
and the pretty naked lady, and you know, and that one's really cool. I like that one probably the best. The whole art thing and the whole concept of art and what makes art valuable. And there's like that whole first section is really good. And the problem is that the best section is the first one, and the rest of the movie just never lives up to that one, which
I
kind of
think the last section is enjoyable as well.
yeah, it is. It's just not as good.
Yeah, it's got like a lot of peaks and valleys to it, to where you're just kind of watching for a while, and then something funny, like they'll say something and it'll be like, ha, that was clever. It's probably one of my least favorite Wes Anderson
It's fair.
movies, but it's also the most experimental of his films, which his films are already kind of out there to begin with.
I was close to watching Asteroid City over the weekend, and I don't know, I just never got around to it because that's on Peacock, which I have. So I know, whatever.
They'll never get me, Peacock.
Yeah.
They're not going to
Sabrina
get me.
watched it. She liked it. So she has pretty good taste in movies.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Doctor Strangelove with Ty. I bought the 4K disc.
Okay.
we
Did
watched
he
it.
like it?
He did. He liked it. It's
Okay.
it holds up great.
Yeah.
And
That
one
movie
thing,
can be a tough watch when you're young.
he's not that young.
That's true.
He's 16. And
I know how old he is.
It's only an hour and a half, which is great. One thing, I've seen the movie a jillion times because I wound up introducing it to all my friends in college, and so we watched it a lot. One thing that I did not pick up on until watching it again, which makes sense, is that Tim Robinson in I Think You Should Leave is basically just doing a George C. Scott, Buck Turgidson, General Turgidson impersonation.
Yeah.
His entire character is that performance. He physically looks like the guy. Their faces look the same, but that character of the crazy. Yeah, I mean, he's like, you look at his face, he makes the weird faces, like the pouting face. It's very striking. And I Googled it to see if anyone else picked up on that. And there were a few like Reddit posts about it, but not really too much. But you got to go back and watch that if you're an I Think You Should Leave fan.
groin.
He doesn't say that.
I know,
That's from The Simpsons.
That's from The Simpsons. Yes.
Football on the groin has football on the groin.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
That's the second critic reference we've made this episode too.
Right. But technically, that's from The Simpsons, isn't it?
It is from The Simpsons.
But he was on that episode.
Yes.
What about the TV side? Oh, wait, I watched one more movie with Ty, classic film. I bought the 4K disc for Casino. I have a lot of 4K discs that I bought that I haven't watched.
I like Casino a lot. I think it's underrated. Do you like Casino? Did he like Casino?
We liked it, but it is very long. I forgot that it was 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched so much of it, and then I clicked to see how much was left, and there was so much left. So
I wrote a very pretentious paper in college on Casino.
Really? What'd you say?
I wrote about, because it was for my Western class, my class on Westerns.
Okay.
And I wrote how Casino is thematically a Western based on the conventions of what makes a Western. I said it was incredibly pretentious. I was 20 years old. It's when you're allowed to be. And
you're supposed to. That's why you're there, is to write that stuff. Yeah.
So I wrote a paper on how, thematically speaking, the movie, it's about Robert De Niro is the man who comes to clean up this one-horse town, and how he's essentially the cowboy character, and he does go out west, and it was like this whole...
Wow. Did you get a good grade?
What'd you get on it?
I got an A. I got an A on the paper. Yeah, I got an A on that paper.
Good job.
Mm-hmm. Nice. It was a good paper. I mean, it makes sense. It's not like I said.
Did you write it the night before?
Of course I did. So... Anyway, I like Casino.
Yeah, it's good. It's very violent at points.
Yes.
Remember the Vice scene? I forgot about a lot of those gross ass scenes. I covered up a lot.
Since you own it, the next time you watch it, think of it as a cowboy movie. See if it works.
Okay.
Yep.
What do we got on the TV front?
Only Murders in the Building. Is anyone else watching that yet?
I'm up to date.
That's a good show.
It is good.
What season is this? Is this 3?
This is 3. Yeah.
I'm got to start 2 still.
We got Meryl Streep on this show.
And Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd is good. Yeah, Meryl Streep is great. Meryl Streep is so good on this show that when she's on the show, you forget it's Meryl Streep.
Yeah, and I think more like, wow, Martin Short and Steve Martin must be pretty excited that they're working with Meryl Streep at this point in their careers, and they have this hit TV show. It's pretty wild, actually, and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's legitimately good and funny.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're all caught up.
Interesting guys, Martin Short and Steve Martin. Yep.
We also watched this TV series on HBO called Telemarketers, which is another documentary. It's a 3-episode documentary, only 45 minutes each episode. It's an inside look at telemarketing by people who took part in some shady ass telemarketing and happened to film a lot of it while they were doing it in the early 2000s. I'm talking about the telemarketing where they're calling on behalf of some police organization trying to get you to, send money, and they're going to send you a sticker to put on your windshield, that type of situation. I
know that. They still call me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Once you give money, they know, they have a database, obbiously. So once they get you, you're fucked. They're going to keep calling.
And the first time they call, you're like, whatever.
Because it's cheap. They're only looking for a few bucks.
Yeah, here's $20 or whatever. Fine.
Anyway, this is a really great example of gonzo documentary and journalism making. It's one of the guys is a heroin addict, and the other guy, they were both working at a telemarketing shop. They decided this was super shady after doing it for a while, and tried to make a documentary, set out to make a documentary about exposing it all. And it goes to some they get to some pretty high up places, and the whole thing is super fucking shady. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's very interesting to see. Did you know that when those people call on behalf of the police organizations, the telemarketing company keeps 90% of the money they take from you? The police organization gets 10%.
Oh, well, I mean, it's similar to those automatic speeding ticket or parking ticket that are the third party ones.
Right.
It's a similar type situation.
Right. Well, they get a little, that's not as bad. Mine only gets a 30% surcharge on those parking things. But this is a lot, 90%. The organization's only getting 10%, and then that you find out like the cops are never like getting any of the money, right? Like the disabled cops that they're calling on behalf, like never seen a fucking dime of that shit. Anyway, it's called Telemarketers. It's one of those things where like the people are interesting to watch who are reporting on the stuff, and they actually get shit done. So it's pretty interesting. I would check that out. What else we got?
Ahsoka,
Ahsoka.
a new Star Wars show.
I thought about watching that.
It's got a Jedi lady in it, played by Rosario Dawson, and she does Jedi stuff. And if you watched Star Wars Rebels, you'll be like, "Oh, I know who all these people are." And if you haven't watched Star Wars Rebels, the first episode actually does a pretty good job of bringing you up to speed on who all these people are.
It's probably good. It's probably maybe even better if you haven't seen Rebels because it'll be all new.
It's like all new because then it's all new people. But I mean, they sort of like it. But it essentially is like a follow up to that cartoon, which is kind of interesting, all in live action that they would do it. There's some pretty good action set pieces, particularly in the second episode. I've only watched the first two. I know the new one came out today. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet today. But yeah, I liked it. It's a little slow in the first episode. Like I said, there's a lot of setup, so I guess I'll give it a pass, and we'll see where it goes from there. The nurse that helped me out when I was getting my colonoscopy was very excited about Ahsoka and saw that I wore a Star Wars t-shirt and wouldn't stop talking about it the entire time that she was poking me with needles.
Nice.
So,
nice asshole. I mean, t-shirt.
Nice t-shirt. Have you watched Ahsoka yet? Let me tell you what I'm like, oh, I'm not really in the headspace to go through this now.
Right. I watched I Think You Should Leave while they were putting the IV in me for that.
Oh,
I had to explain to them that I'm a huge pussy. I said, despite my size, I'm a huge pussy, and I will have a problem if I don't focus my mind on something else. So is it okay if I watch my phone and some short comedy videos? And they're like, oh, yeah. Isn't that fun to have to do that like every time I do anything?
When the anesthesiologist came over to ask me all like the questions to make sure that I was ready.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of a game of Marvel Snap, and I was like, wait.
Oh my God. You don't want to fuck with that guy. You piss him off. Yeah. You're waking up right in the middle when they got the tube in.
I'm like, let me just end. I ended the game, but I was like, wait 1 second.
Hold on. I'm about to level up.
Yeah.